legacy leads. Tell me where your legacy be.
Yes, sir. Look at this. Me and my co-host, Julian Fountain, Legacy Leagues, Winter 26 post-game show. We're breaking down the quarterfinals this week. We got no Greg Horn. Shout out to Greg Horn on vacation. Holding it down last week with a solo show, an absolute hero for the cause. But I got my video, my photographer, my production extraordinaire, Julian Fountain,
Yes,
right here
sir.
joining me. Julian, thanks for coming on, baby. How you doing
Gotcha,
today?
buddy. Oh, living the dream, man. I'm just out here ready to talk some legacy basketball, talk about some great games that we had.
Yep.
A couple of crazy things went down. Shout out to InSports, but we made it through.
Yeah, me and Julian were leaving there, and we're like, yo, we should go apply to be firemen because, we were putting out fires left and right. But we appreciate all the players who stuck with us, and obviously sometimes technical malfunctions happen, but we got through it. It was a great week of games, and let's get right into it. Let's start breaking down these quarterfinals games, and then after that, we'll jump into the semis and preview those. But to start us off, the quarterfinals, Get Money took on Lux Gang, and it was a very good game. Ends up being a Get Money win, 81-70. Julian, I know you were watching that game pretty closely, and you said I'm really excited to talk about that game. What did you see from these two teams in this matchup?
I saw a lot of intensity on both sides. There was one really heartbreaking thing that happened in this game. Trayvon went off when it was too late. He hit 3 threes in a row with like a minute left in the game, and it brought the score to like an 11-point game. But you could just tell that Lux Gang was gassed, man. Like, they had nothing left. I felt like every time I see them play, I just feel terrible, man, because they have such a talented roster and some skilled guys, but they just run out of gas, man. They need more depth. They need more people on the bench. Like Get Money has a loaded roster. They got a bunch of people they could sub in and out. We're all grown men here, man. Like, we're not conditioning. We're not training to play a full 40-minute game every week, So I think at the end of the day, this could have been a really, really closer game towards the end. Maybe Get Money slacked off a little bit too because, they were up. But it just, at the end, I was like, man, I could definitely see them getting further if they had a deeper roster,
Absolutely. And I wish Greg was on just for the fact Greg is like our Legacy Leagues historian. He always knows the records and the stats. And I'm like 59 points from Trayvon Jones. That could be a Legacy Leagues record. I don't know off the top of my head for the playoffs.
I think KD had 67 or 66 like 2 seasons ago.
Was it in a playoff game?
No.
So that's what I'm saying. This could be a playoff record. If not, it's definitely up there. We'll definitely have to confirm that, and I wish I had double-checked that before we went live, but it's all good. We got to give him his flowers. 59 points is absolutely insane. Our boy Hakeem the Dream, dude, who's had an incredible season, Hakeem Trueheart over at Lux Gang. Definitely a guy that they needed a little bit more from in this game. He was 2 for 7 with 9 points. He's had such a good campaign. You expect a guy like that in the playoffs to really be a good supplemental scorer behind Trayvon. They were definitely hurting not getting that 20 points per game that he was damn near averaging this season. But but Kyle Davis, classic KD game, man. Him and his team were going at it early.
Yes.
What did you see from those two guys in that?
So that's what I was just thinking, man. Like, as I was watching the game, I think Hakeem noticed his shot might not have been falling, and he just went more so into, let me get in this guy's head and try to stop him.
Yeah.
But KD didn't let it happen, man. He didn't break. He didn't change how he was playing. No. In fact, he might have went at him a little bit more after that, and he turned it on. I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, I see you, man. I was like, okay. And as I'm recording it, I didn't get a lot of video of the interactions back and forth. I think a lot of the talking went back and forth in the second quarter. So I was still doing photo at that time, but as I'm taking my photos, I was like, yo, this is heated, bro. This is a game right here. I mess with that. I don't know. I just love when players bring that energy. It makes the game a lot more fun to watch,
Absolutely. And like you said, Kyle Davis didn't let him in his head. That's a finals MVP. That's a guy who's got a ring and performed at the highest level in the biggest matchup. That's a type of guy that's hard to shake, right? You're not going to really be able to rattle him in a playoff game. But shout out to Hakeem for trying, man. Because sometimes that might be your only hope when it comes to stopping Kyle Davis. Physically, damn near impossible, but maybe mentally that could be your only shot sometimes. So
Yep.
Shout out to the Lux Gang. Their season comes to an end here in the first round. But Lux Gang, the type of team, every week you can't take them lightly. Get Money saw that in this matchup. They were up big, and Lux Gang fought their way back into it. They have some big-time players in Trayvon and Hakeem and some good supplemental scorers behind them. They always make it tough, but ultimately, they couldn't get over the hump in this first-round matchup. But their season's over. Get Money advances. And speaking of advancing, let's get into our next matchup. The one that had all the drama and all the craziness going on. NLMB versus the Street Ballers, man. And poor Greg Horn was getting absolutely flamed by the Street Ballers, who came out with the win, 58-52. Greg was on this, like we said earlier, solo pod last week, had to make all the picks by himself. And I think he picked that LMB because the Street Ballers were not happy with him. The Street Ballers, nice win. Despite, like we said, we'll kind of preview what happened with the malfunctions that we're alluding to. There was a clock issue at InSports. Our scoreboard that they provided us with was not updating, so we were trying to provide them with a clock from the sideline off of an iPhone. Ultimately, the clock did sort itself out, and in the last 2 minutes, everything was okay. But there was a lot of confusion, a lot of chaos. And honestly, Julian, we've seen Street Ballers have situations in the past where when things start to go off the rails, they go off the rails with it,
Yep,
and they never
exactly.
be able to regain and keep their composure. This was a different mentality for the Street Ballers, who kept their heads and come out with a 58-52 win over NLMB. What did you see between these two teams in this heated matchup?
I would say not even just this game, but all season I feel like I've seen a different Street Ballers. I've seen a Street Ballers, like you said, that have been more composed under pressure, a lot calmer, less reactive even, I would say. And honestly, an underrated addition is Melquan Horton. I think he does such a good job, like, rallying the troops a bit, Like, there was a moment where I just saw him talking to Benji, and he was like, dude, like, I need you in this game. Like, forget about the rest, forget about the clock. Like, we're here, we're in this game. Like, and that type of leadership on a team is important no matter what game you're playing, No matter at what level, it doesn't matter. If you want to win, you need somebody that's going to say, hey, come here, rally it. And it doesn't always have to be with points. Points aren't always the way that you can lead a team, And I think Melquan was a great example of that. He walked up to you and he was like, oh, I'm going to be Jimmy Butler today. I think he showed a different side of Jimmy Butler that, was really important for Street Ballers.
Absolutely. I remember that exact moment you're referring to. He pulled Benji to the side. And that's exactly what this team needed for the last 2 seasons, is somebody that can kind of set the tone, right? Calm everyone down. He told Benji, if you're worried about the clock right now, your mind is on the wrong thing. We got to focus on beating these guys right here on the court in front of us. Don't worry about the score. Don't worry about the clock. Don't worry about the refs. Focus on just putting the ball in the hoop and getting stops. That's all we got to worry about. Everything else will sort itself out. And that's, for guys like Julian and our interns who hadn't seen Melquan in this league, and he had just made his return midway through this season. He was a long-time veteran of this league who took a few seasons off. He's back now, and you see that veteran leadership really coming through. And, Yoito Acosta is an unbelievable player on this team.
Dude.
He's an offensive powerhouse.
I think he had Play of the Week.
Yeah, I mean, how many times it feels like he's in Play of the Week every week, the amounts of dunks he has. But
yeah.
We've seen him, and I talked to him after in the postgame, settling for shots a lot in this league. I mean, he's a very good shooter, so why not, right? But damn, when he's going to the rack, Julian, this guy is damn near unstoppable. And one late to close out that game. What did you see from him specifically in those closing minutes of this game?
The play I'm referencing, that was the play of the game. I had not seen anything like this in Legacy Leagues. This man did a 360 layup and one. I was like, what just happened? I ran over to the guy recording HD clips on that side. I said, did you get that? Because I wanted to make sure he had it, because that play was amazing, man. Yeah, I think he surprises me because, like, when you walk up to him, you're not expecting this guy to come out here and drop 30 points, right? But he comes out there and he's loose. He's really efficient. Even if you look at his numbers, they're super efficient. Like, and to drop 29 at the efficiency that he has, it's crazy, and it's really good for the Street Ballers. And they're going to need him to keep this run up if they want to make it far in these playoffs.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you look at their team, Yoito Acosta's been arguably the best offensive player in the league this season. He's going to be right there in the running for Offensive Player of the Year. And Melquan Horton, despite joining late, so he's not really eligible for a lot of these awards, he has won a Defensive Player of the Year award in his past two. So you can make an argument. They have the best offensive and defensive player in the league. You could make that case for both those guys, which is a tough team to go up against in the next round. We'll get into their upcoming matchup in a second. Let's go into this next game. Now we go into the 9 o'clocks. The Syndicate took on Morepower. These next two games we'll spend a little bit less time on. It was the top two seeds taking on the bottom two seeds. Both made quick work of it. But in the Syndicate game, they took down Morepower 111-85. I think it's worth mentioning that Morepower got off to an early lead in this game. I think it was like 11-5 in the first opening few minutes. And you're like, whoa, what's going on here? Syndicate, they ended up getting it together real fast and put an authoritative victory in this one. What you see from the Syndicate in this first round matchup?
Shout out my guy Mikey Fuller, man. My guy posted a video, and he I think it was one of my clips, but he was like, "Don't poke the bear," because I guess last week Greg's GOAT was getting on him, saying, "Man, get out here and score. Why can't you score?" He said, "Don't poke the bear." That man came out here and dropped 25. Good for him, man. You love to see it. I love his energy. Him and Eric Moore, they crack me up. Their energy is amazing.
So funny.
Yeah, they're so much fun. But I also did see, I was surprised, Greg's GOAT, Mike Davis, in the game late. I was like, okay. Maybe getting some, just a little bit more run, getting ready for playoff times, late playoff runs.
Yes.
But he was also, when he was in GOAT form again. So I was like, Greg, I see what you're talking about. That man can hoop for sure. So it was a great game.
I don't want this to go down as Greg's GOAT. It needs to be down on the record as the GOAT for everybody. All right. If it's not for everybody, I don't know who the hell is thinking he's not the GOAT. Look at this man's resume. All right. Mike Davis is the GOAT of Legacy Leagues. This man has a silhouette on a T-shirt. All right. He's looking like Jerry West out here for the Legacy
say he's
Leagues.
the Legacy logo.
Yeah, he's the Legacy logo man. So yeah, I think you hit it right on the head, bro. Mike Davis is a playoff performer. He this season he did not show up to the full extent for most of these regular season games. There's a few games he just showed up. He stepped on the court to be eligible for the playoffs. And he would go, honestly, hang out in the stands, watch the other games. He was just kind of an autopilot all season. But come playoff time, Mike Davis is here for a reason. I think this was a matchup where he showed up to get some burn, to get some shots up, to get some reps, because he knows the tough matchups are coming. And, just getting his shot nice and ready, and we saw it in full form. I mean, he was, for Mike, one of the guys that's one of the older guys in this league, you would not be able to tell by the way he plays the game, dude. He has guys falling all over the place trying to defend him. They don't know what to do, and his range is limitless. He does not shoot like Reggie in terms of that crazy elevated jump shot. He's very low base, all from the legs. Does not get a ton of lift on his shot, and it does not matter. He can shoot over anybody. He creates space with his footwork. He's just such a good player. He's always has been. It was a joy to watch in this game. But the whole Syndicate team was looking good in this game. Jaquan Bromell was obviously flying up and down the court with those transition dunks. Sexy Lex was getting some rebounds and some.
Shout out Lexi, man.
Shout out Lex, man. We love Lex, and even Jason Velez was getting a little strappy out there with the shot. I saw him looking like his old all-star self, and Mikey and Eric out there dancing around, shooting threes all over the place. Yep. A great overall win for the Syndicate. Speaking of great overall wins, we got Run TMC over there taking down BTFO 109-82. Again, another top-seeded team, absolutely giving belt to a lower seed, and kind of expected, but Run TMC, Jewel, I mean, they're shaping up for a deep finals push here. What you see from them in this first round matchup?
Man, that team is another scary good team, just because obviously, they had a great regular season, but now you see Quan Jackson turning up, getting his points in to go along with Joe Carter and Reggie. It's just like, and Pratt coming in, getting a few of his shots up too, man, getting a few to fall. It's like, dude, this team actually has some scary offense. We talked about the best offensive player being on Street Ballers, but like, they might have the best offensive team and team chemistry that I've seen. Right here in Legacy, I don't see another team that just works so well together and feeds an offense cohesively like Run TMC does. It's really awesome to see. Yeah,
they're stacked, and I'm sitting there, I'm doing the interview with these guys, and after the game, it's always been Pratt and Reggie, and I always say I got the dual MVPs, I got the Akimbo MVPs out here with me doing the interviews, and then they had Joe Carter join them. Now that's a guy who could be an MVP this season based on the campaign he just had.
Yep.
And I was like, shit, they might have 3 MVPs standing in front of me right here. With Pratt, Reggie, and obviously Joe, who had an incredible season. Joe was one of the leading point scorers, if not the lead. I think he was the leading point scorer in the league this year, and he's also, the foundation of their defense, being, as big as he is, as strong as he is. He definitely guards that low block as good as anyone in this league, and his teammate Dave Armstrong is right there next to him. Eric Langston's one of the biggest guys in this league. He'll be there next week, I guarantee you, in these big-time matchups. Eric Langston's going to show up. He'll hit some threes. He'll be talking shit, getting in people's head. Run TMC is an absolute threat just because of all their chemistry playing together. A lot of these guys have championship experience, if not all of them, and they're going to be a problem. So let's get into these next rounds, Julian. The quarterfinals were a great, great set of games. The top seeds looking strong. And those 2 other teams, and the Street Ballers and Get Money, are not here to play around. They are ready. So let's get into this first one. I want to talk Get Money versus Syndicate. Now, a little backstory behind this matchup, Jewel, is previous season, last year, all Lex was telling me is I got Kyle Davis joining me next year. I got Kyle Davis on my team. He's already going to be in Syndicate Purple. Season starts, Kyle Davis shows up, he's wearing black and green again. I go, Lex, what happened? He's like, dude, next season, I'm going to get him next season. So there's this little story now where Syndicate went from trying to get Kyle Davis on their team for this season to now having to beat him to advance. They're all really good friends. KD loves all those guys, and the feelings are mutual with the guys on the Syndicate. But I'm super excited to see KD go up against these guys. I mean, KD's one of the best players in this league. His team is definitely going to be an underdog in this matchup, but you can't count them out with a guy like Kyle Davis going up against the Syndicate. What do you like to see in this matchup? Who do you think has the edge, and why?
I see this being a close game, man. This game has the ability to go down to like the last shot, and a lot of times I feel like Get Money they're such a wild card team because they're so good. They can be so good, but you just never know which version of Get Money you're going to get that day. And that's the part that's scary, I really do like the team they put together. I actually think DeMar Whitaker on that team is a really underrated player. Mm-hmm. And I think he might be an X factor because with KD, you're going to get your 30, right? But, if you get Jacob on, you get Tysheen on, you just never know what that matchup could be. So, I'm not talking as much about Syndicate because we kind of know what we're going to get with Syndicate. High fast-paced team, high-powered offense. They're going to go out there and they're going to get 100. So the thing is, can Get Money keep up with them and outpace or, bring it down to the wire for the offense? We'll see, man.
Yeah, they're gonna have to grind it out with this team. Kyle Davis is definitely gonna have to have another similar performance to how he played in the first round. He's gonna have to shoot a very high percentage from 3. Tyron McRae, who's been an all-star coming off that brutal Achilles injury, he's been getting better and better every week. You'd love to see him have a big-time moment in these playoffs in a game like this. And his brother Tysheen, who is an all-world defender when it comes to legacy leagues, and he's a guy that's going to have to really take on that defensive assignment, guarding some of these elite perimeter threats. He's a guy I always said, even though he plays like a guard, he defends like a big because he can jump so high. So I'm expecting a big game from Tysheen. I'm expecting a big game from Tyron. Whitaker is a great call on being a sneaky big-time asset for this team. But, ultimately, Kyle Davis is the engine, and if he's running on full steam, he's the type of guy that can really take this game over. I already made my finals pick in a previous podcast about a month ago, and I have the Syndicate winning it all. So for me personally, that means I have to have the Syndicate winning this game. But I'm a little bit worried, Jewel. I'm a little bit worried.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I'll be opposite of you just to make it interesting. I'll take Get Money this game. I know the Syndicate guys are going to kill me, but I'll take Get Money this game.
Get Money has gone to multiple finals, and if it weren't for an Eric Langston shot from the heavens at the final few seconds, they would all have rings. So this is a team that is not unfamiliar with big-time moments, big-time games against the best teams in the league. You can never count out Get Money. I'm super excited for this matchup, but I am honestly even more excited for this upcoming matchup that we're about to break down. We got the Street Ballers and Run TMC, and man, whenever these two teams play each other, it's fireworks.
Yeah.
I think these guys went to overtime last year in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. It was an absolutely crazy game when the Street Ballers were completely counted out by everybody and didn't have nearly as good of a team as they had this year. They almost beat TMC. But this is a different TMC team. It's a different Street Ballers team. And two totally different styles. I mean, Run TMC, right? They love playing with pace, finesse, shooting, passing. And then you got the Street Ballers who are just going to come in and make this game ugly. They're going to foul the living hell out of you. They're going to be up in your face. They're going to be talking shit. It reminds me, Julian, of those Bad Boys Pistons teams, right? And the way they
100%.
used to take on Jordan and just piss him off and disrupt him and beat the living hell out of him. And the next thing you know, the best player of all time is going into the tunnel with a loss because he just couldn't match the physicality of those teams from the Pistons. That's what this matchup reminds me of. What do you see with these two teams taking each other on?
This is going to be a good game. This is going to be another good game. I think that, again, it depends on which Street Ballers you get that day. But now that I think Melquan is there, I think that this is going to be a closer game than it would have been last year. And I mean that in this way. Their mental makeup is so much different than it was last year. So it really can go either way, which is crazy to say when you think of, TMC's history with the league versus like Street Ballers' history with the league, but it really can go either way. I'm going to have to take TMC in this one just because, like I said, I think that that's the most cohesive offense in the league and they work the best together, but it's not going to be a blowout at all. It is going to be another one where it might come down to Reggie hitting another miracle last shot to win the game or something, you know. At this point, I can see it being really, really close.
Yeah, I can too. I mean, the way Vegas always sets spreads on games, right? Like this game is going to be, I don't know, 3, 4, maybe 5.5, somewhere in that range, right? TMC is going to have to be the favorite. They've won every single matchup all season long. They are undefeated. They have championship players from top to bottom on that roster. They have arguably the MVP in Joe Carter. They have an offensive player of the year, a candidate in Reggie Stewart. They got Shaquan Jackson. This is a guy, Shaquan, what's he, your third option? I mean, you put him on most teams in this league, he's your best player. On paper, this team is stacked. On paper, this team is just ridiculous. But, the Street Ballers know this, right? And the Street Ballers know, you guys got all these pretty little toys, and we're just going to come in there, and we're going to make this game ugly, and we're going to muck it up, and we're going to do whatever we can just to get this game down to the final few minutes of this game where, throw everything out the window. Now it's who can make a big-time shot in a big-time moment with all the pressure. And, when you got Yoito Acosta, Melquan Horton on your team, and even Benji, who's been having a very good year offensively, you never know what can happen, man. I would never count the Street Ballers out of this game. If you're a better man, maybe you take the Street Ballers with the points, and just pray to God that this game's close down the final stretch. I think it's fair to say TMC's the favorite, and maybe the Street Ballers won't like hearing that, but that does not mean that they don't have a chance to win this game. Absolutely. It's going to be an awesome matchup. I'm really excited for it. Before we let you go, Jewel, before we get out of here, we got the All-Stars coming up. We got the awards coming out pretty soon here. What are you most excited for outside of the finals? We got some All-Star weekend events coming up, three-point shootout. What are you looking forward to with all that on the horizon?
Man, I think I'm excited for the dunk contest. Our dunk contest has been the NBA dunk contest, if you ask me. It's more entertaining. So I'm excited for the dunk contest. I always love the dunk contest because I get some awesome pictures because, I already know what's coming, so I can be ready for it. And the best part about it is even if you miss, I still get an awesome shot. So I don't care. You know what I mean? But, photography-wise, I'm excited for the dunk contest. Yep. The three-point contest is always fun, too. I just think All-Star Weekend in general, the vibes for All-Stars is fun. Everyone's laid back. Everybody's just having a good time and, laughing and joking. And there's going to be an interesting twist on All-Star this year that I'm excited for.
It is. It is. That's kind of why I asked you this question. It's kind of trying to parlay that. Everybody who's watching, y'all stay tuned. We got some very cool stuff that we're cooking up. for the All-Star weekend, All-Star draft, and that stuff's going to be coming out live soon. So make sure you guys are all staying tuned to the socials. We'll all have that information posted on when that's going to be going live so that y'all can tune in. And then, get ready for All-Star Week and get ready for finals, more importantly. I mean, we are literally one more great slate of games away from the two best teams in the league going at it. Which two teams those are, we don't know yet. We'll find out next week. So everybody, shout out to Greg Horn. I think Greg Horn's coming back next week. Greg's been on vacation in Vermont. Just texted me, said that he just got a flat tire. So we hope that the start of his trip, put that behind him. Let's hope that Greg Horn's got to those mountains. He's shredded up. We got a lot of snow coming. Everybody stay safe with the big blizzard on the way. And also, shout out to Team USA going for gold in hockey tomorrow against Canada. A lot of stuff coming up. A lot of great stuff coming up this weekend and next weekend as well. From your host Connor, my co-host Julian. Y'all, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you guys on Thursday night at In Sports next week.